3 tips for your aerial invert. There are so many amazing ways to get you up nice and high on that pole, that here are just a few tips to help the aerial invert become stronger and stronger. Tip number 1. Build the foundations. Of course, to have a strong aerial invert, you need to have a strong invert. So work on those knee tucks. If you can lift your knees up to your shoulders and then extend your legs to a straddle from the floor, then it's going to be much easier to lift into an aerial invert. Of course, if you can keep both legs super straight for your straddle invert, then that's going to make it even easier. Tip number 2. Keep your hands low. As you're about to aerial invert, you want to make sure that your hands are super low. You want to make sure your outside hand is about forehead height and your inside hand is about cheek height. Most people want to take their hands a lot higher because it feels easier, but trust me, when you take your legs off the pole, you want those hands nice and low so that you can pull and you'll be much stronger. Really keep those arms bent, really keep those arms pulling so that as you do take your legs off the pole, you're not going to drop down because again, dropping down, extending your arms is going to be much harder. Tip number 3. Get your hips in front of the pole. You can invert in a slightly awkward way with your hips behind the pole, but it's much easier if you can take your hips in front of the pole. From a forwards facing climb, I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing this. You always want to invert to the side of your top arm. So you can either circle your front leg all the way around the pole to the side of your top arm and then take your hips in front of the pole as you're circling this leg and then lift into your invert. The other way is to use your back foot to push your back knee off the pole so that again you invert to the same side but your legs are the other way round. I feel that taking the front leg off the pole looks a bit nicer because it's a bit spinnier, but you might find that the back leg coming off is just that little bit easier to get your hips in the right position. But try both and see what you prefer. The biggest tip I can give you is to make sure you have the strong foundations. So get a really strong knee tuck, a strong invert and a strong climb, and then the aerial invert will feel much easier. What's your favourite way into an aerial invert? I know there's many more ways than what I'm showing you, but what's your favourite? For a full tutorial on this move and many more moves, check out studio.polefreaks.com for more. Bye now!